The following is a conversation with the indie rock band Willis. They recently released an album entitled I Can't Thank You Enough, and I hope you enjoy the conversation I had with the band Willis.
Okay, yeah, seriously excited to have you a band on that I truly enjoy listening to. Love your music, love the sound, love the vibe. Band known as Willis. Appreciate y'all taking the time to be here. Hope things have been well for you guys.
Appreciate that. Likewise, bro.
Thank you.
So I think the best place to start is kind of you guys have a new album out. I can't thank you enough. And for me, it feels like your last couple of releases are a little different in sound from maybe your first few works. How do you think your sound has kind of evolved over the years?
I think we're more sure about what we like, and we're more sure about like what we're going for in the studio. So we each just come with different ideas, and we just throw it in, and we're just looking to make the best product. And we got better as musicians too. So
Yeah. So yeah. You guys have all been best friends since high school. Is that correct? Yeah. So what do you? I guess even in that sense, right? So you guys have like grown up together. Do you think your sound has, and maybe your lyrics and how you kind of make music has also grown up to kind of match that as well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we like rub off on each other a good bit. Like, there's a lot of music that I didn't even listen to before I joined the band. And so just through sharing music with each other and playing with each other, obviously, like we've helped each other grow in like a similar direction, I think.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that makes sense. So it was the dream always to be a musician. So you guys have, been doing this for what, the better part of a decade now. Was the dream always to be musicians, or do you think this would still be a thing when you first started?
I think, yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't really think there was like a backup plan. Just kind of, really drained and
yeah, we just decided to just get together one day and just like make music, and whatever was going to come out of it just happened was just going to be like a byproduct, but just making art that we liked, because where we're from, there wasn't very much like things going on that we liked or felt a part of.
Yeah. And I think at the beginning, it was just like we just knew we liked making music and making art together. And I didn't necessarily like think about it as a career path until like the last few years. It was just something that I liked doing with my friends, and it naturally evolved into what it is today.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. You guys grew up like small town Alabama. Is that accurate? Smallish
Florence,
town.
Florence, so the top left little corner.
Okay. So I know for me, I grew up small town Pennsylvania, and kind of finding your own way into, art and things like that can be a little bit of a struggle. What are those influences for you guys? Do you each bring, your own individual influence to the table, or you think there's like a similar connection there maybe?
We definitely have our own like vibe. Like we each bring our own thing to the table. And then we also like have things that we like. Like when we bring a song to the table, like we all might not like this pattern. But some bands that we like starting up was the Alabama Shakes, of course. Mac DeMarco. Let's see, who else? Palace,
Kings of Leon,
Kings of Leon, early Kings of Leon, like that really like left the mark on us.
real
Yeah.
estate.
So, and I think that definitely shows in your sound. Like you got this very, chill indie rock sound going on, and it definitely is reflective of those influences, at least in my eyes. I guess in terms of like your lyrics, do you think? I feel like you guys talk a lot about time, and I feel like that's like a big theme in a lot of your songs. Whether it's losing time, gaining time. Do you guys think about that a lot, or is that just something, maybe it's just kind of happenstance?
I think about time a lot, like where we invest our time, like what are we doing with our time, because we're not gonna get it like that. Yeah. I the thought of time kind of freaks me out a lot. So I just write about my experience with them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that makes sense, because you don't, especially for me, I don't think you realize how quick time goes by. And then, you're looking back on things and, 3, 4 years have gone by. I guess kind of in that same thing. So 3, 4 years gone by since I feel like you guys, what, 2, 3 years ago had, I think I Like When It Rains kind of go viral on TikTok and social media. What is, what was that like, number one? And then, what has that kind of done for you as artists kind of since that's happened, and what has it meant to the band as a whole?
It was definitely very validating, like just knowing like where we're from and the opportunity that that type of exposure gives, like, and to not waste that opportunity. So it was definitely crazy.
Yeah, it was very interesting timing too, because it was like, I think it was April of 2021. So we were just gearing up, getting ready to tour, and then COVID hit. And then we were kind of just like, well, what do we do now? We just moved to Nashville. And so we just continued to write and do what we could. And then a year into COVID, something big happens and kind of ignites that spark a little bit.
Yeah, and I think the funny thing about, like, especially in the sense of like TikTok and music and how social media works with that, is like that song came out what, in 2017
Yep.
ish, somewhere
Mhm.
around there, and for it to be like 4 years later to have gone viral, it feels like such a funny thing to me. So was that like a song you guys played at sets prior, or was that like, was that like the most popular song off that EP beforehand?
I think it was the most popular, but like not by a whole lot. It had definitely gotten the most traction of all of our songs at that time. And then, yeah, TikTok did its thing.
So I guess this is one of my favorite questions to ask musicians, because I feel like, especially you guys being fully independent, being an artist encompasses all of these, different, hats that you got to wear to be an artist, whether, making music, doing social media. Do you guys view social media as like a necessary evil, or is it something you enjoy doing, or, you don't even touch it at all, and your manager kind of works through it, or?
It's definitely a necessary evil. Like we understand like the cons of it, like the feeling cringe and the like, you know, some people kind of do the most, but we just try to keep it organic, We don't try to like reach, like overextend, like past our own like boundaries.
There are definitely good things of it too. Getting to hear from fans and interact with fans is definitely cool. And social media gives you an easy avenue to do that. But yeah, it can definitely it definitely feels like something that we might rather focus on the music sometimes, or we have to do some social media stuff. But it's a
Yeah, I
tool
mean,
today, I
yeah,
think.
100%. I think for at least what I've seen, especially with, smaller artists, like it's a great way to kind of, like what you said, build a little bit of a stronger community among the fans, among people who really enjoy your music. And yeah, I feel like that just allows that base to be so much more strong, and you gotta get those random chances, to go viral and to grow that way as well. So what do you think is the most rewarding slash most challenging part of being an artist nowadays?
For me, the most rewarding part is getting to wake up in the morning and make music and that be my job. That's a pretty huge privilege and blessing and something I don't take lightly. And it's very validating to get to wake up and just do what I love with my friends. And that's my responsibility for that day, is to make art. It's awesome.
Is there, being friends since high school? So I know I have, three lifelong friends at this point, and I'm curious, is there ever this moment where you guys, you're around each other all the time? Is there ever this moment where you're like, man, I'm just like, I need a break, right? You got to get away from these guys for a little bit. You guys have that opportunity, number one? And maybe just, what is your favorite way to kind of ground yourself in yourself?
We definitely do make some time to give each other like personal space, like whenever we're on the road for a show, really just acknowledging how big of an opportunity that we have, and the fact that we have people like showing up to these shows, like hundreds and then thousands of people showing up to shows, like kind of just speaks for itself, like the work that we put in, the creativity that we put in, and the fact that other people like it. It's like we can't let those people down.
Yeah, we might give ourselves a good week or two after tour to kind of reset. But for the most part, we enjoy each other's company and get along and like practicing and making music together.
Yeah, love it. So I guess in terms of, particularly like talking about a lot about mental health because I'm, for a long time was just the guy who pushed through everything, as society would tell you to do. What is, your favorite way or, your go-to way of kind of taking care of your mental health while you're out on tour? Because I know tour can be exhausting. It's a grind. What are some of the ways you fill your cup back up, so to speak?
I think just making sure like you go outside enough, get some sunlight. That helps a lot.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. What about? I'd honestly, I'd love to hear from all of you if on this one. That'd be cool.
Yeah, mine's a similar thing. Like going outside, if we're like in a cool spot, going on a hike or something, like just get away from the hustle and bustle of tour and stuff.
Yeah, it's really a like physical activity. Really, just like going for a walk, like they're saying.
I usually take time to acknowledge, like, validate my own like nervousness and just rise to the occasion. I need this to push myself just to see how far like I can take it.
Yeah. Like Will said, getting outside for me and just finding healthy ways to like reward yourself. You can just have a little treat, going to a little coffee shop, getting a little, something or going on a hike. Just trying to fit a little normal life activity into the strangeness of touring.
Yeah. So kind of talking to Trevor before this, you guys have gone from, pretty small cap rooms and have kind of like gradually worked your way up to these bigger cap rooms. What's that kind of feel like? Is that like a super validating thing knowing that, you're the work you're putting in is paying off?
Yeah, it's super cool. And like you said, like starting small and then working our way bigger, like the same people still show up to shows. So like we recognize the people that were there with us when we first started at the smaller venues. And those same people are front row, like whenever it's a huge venue.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
is very validating. We have a lot of
Yeah.
fun with the fans.
what's a show look like for you guys? So I know you guys like to, to get down pretty good at good energy. We have to been to a Willis show, but looking to get to one soon. Do you feed off the energy of the crowd, or is it just you guys feed off your own energies? You kind of being friends, feed off each other, and make a good show that way.
Definitely a little bit of both. Yeah. I think we do our best to deliver the best performance we possibly can, regardless of the crowd energy. But when the energy's there, you can definitely tell, and it gives you a little boost.
Yeah, 100%. Right. I think kind of going back to your albums, right? So can you let's talk through maybe like the most your favorite song off your new album and kind of why.
Edward, you want to start?
I'd say mine is definitely Magenta. And it's really just the arrangements of everything. It's just such a beautiful ambient song, I feel.
Yeah, mine is Clear Lake. I think it's just a classic Willis vibe. We had some really talented studio musicians play on that one, some really cool pedal steel, as well as an amazing saxophone solo. I listen to that track all the time, and that's probably the only one I go back to.
Mine would definitely be Clear Lake. I feel like the lyrics stick with me like a lot. Just a story of like perseverance and learning how to succeed from the times that you like messed up and picking yourself back up and realizing like once you're past the things that you thought would bring you down, it really wasn't that deep.
Mine's definitely Magenta. It just kind of has that, I don't know, it's something different sort of from what we normally do. It's got that twang vibe to it. And like, that was kind of a lot of the music I was into at the time when we were writing stuff. And so it was like, I don't know, it was cool to see something actually work out like that in a Willis song.
Mine's Magenta too, for sure. I think because it's so like emotionally driven, I think it brings a certain feeling of whoever's listening. I think that's really, really nice. Good song.
Yeah, I think I would probably agree. My favorite off the album is Magenta. I don't know, has just a feeling to it that is, I don't know, resonates somewhere deep inside me. So what about your creative process when you guys get in the studio? Is it, you guys collaborating on ideas, or somebody brings an idea to the table and you kind of run with it, or what does that look like?
It's definitely both. Like whoever's feeling creative, like they'll send a beat to the group text and we'll listen to that and we'll jam it out in practice. But then sometimes in practice, like we'll just start out with Glenn on drums or me on bass playing something, then we all just kind of form something around that.
Yeah, we like to go into the studio as prepared as possible and have the tracks pretty much finished as far as like arrangement, so we can focus on like the fun production stuff in the studio.
Now, in terms of production, have you guys has produced your first couple works, or is it you've always kind of had assistance with that?
Yeah,
We did one. Did we do one?
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, we did 1, 2, and 3 ourselves. Then we got producers for the fourth one, and then I can't thank you enough.
And so you got Locals, 1 and 2 and 4 are all EPs, and 3 was an album. Do I have that right? I'm not sure if I have that right.
Well, all 4 are EPs, and then the
Okay.
album, can't thank you enough.
Got you. So in terms of just naming them Locals, is there something behind that, or is it just, you want it to be simple, wanted it to be, memorable that way?
We did want it to be simple and memorable, but we just get so much love, like wherever we are, wherever we go, they make us feel like locals.
Got you. Yeah, I love that. That's sweet. What about, so you guys had a release party in Chicago. Is that right, for the album?
Yeah.
How was that? Was that
It was lit.
it was
Crazy.
Yeah, hit my first stage dive during the show. It was sick.
amazing? So
Yeah.
have you guys always had like some go-to cities while you're on tour? Like what cities have always showed you all the most love?
Denver, Chicago, where else?
DC.
DC, New York.
Denver's number 1.
Denver is number one. Denver always brings the energy.
Got you. So in terms of artists y'all have opened for, is there, some kind of takeaway, learning experience you've kind of gotten from, some of the artists that you guys have toured with, some of the people you've opened for, or maybe just kind of interacted with over the years?
Definitely the best ability is availability. Being somewhere you need to be on time, doing what you got to do before you do what you want to do is something that we have taken from like this whole experience whenever we were openers.
Yeah, I mean the idea of like, your necessary responsibilities before you're kind of able to really jump into what you absolutely want to do. Yeah, I mean that makes a ton of sense. For me, it's always been like talking to artists. I've learned that tour is absolutely grueling. I feel like it gets lost a lot of times that artists are also just people at the end of the day, and that there's this level of like, and especially with social media, there's this level of like, you feel like you have to be able to reach them at all times, or like they can't have personal space and things like that. So that's been the coolest thing for me is, just getting to know artists on such like a more personal level, and, understanding the background behind it all, I guess, so to speak. What about, so outside of maybe the new album, what song are y'all most proud of? Maybe not your most popular song, but just one you look back on and you're like, man, that song's sweet. I'm super happy we did it.
I'd say Bell in the Basement for sure. Yep. That's a really nice string arrangement. Really nice video to go along with.
Yeah, Will did all the filming and editing for that video. Did a really amazing job.
I love the like composition of ballad. And it's also one of my favorite guitar parts that I've ever written. And it's never not been fun to play live.
What's the song we made at the Airbnb in Prospect?
In between?
In Between, yes. In Between, yeah. That's my favorite one. Just like, that just started from scratch, basically. We just rented a Airbnb in Prospect, Kentucky. And
I was a dope Airbnb.
just got to it,
Yeah, those are, Ballad and In Between are my two favorites, I think. I really like Pool House off of Locals 4 too.
That's probably Could Be Worth It. Really a lot of stuff on Locals 3, because that was like the Locals 1 and 2, we did those on our own for sure, but it was just like super basic recording stuff, like, just your basic interface, all that. But on Locals 3, we recorded a lot of it to this tape machine that I went out and bought. And like, we got this little like Tascam board and stuff.
and just we spent so long recording it, and that was one where we really experimented with like the tape machine and all that kind of stuff, and that was cool. I thought it came out really good. Yeah, that was a very personal experience for us too. Glenn did all the mixing for Locals 3 and did a great job with it. And it was just that was our first time getting super hands-on and feeling like we were making like a professional product on our own.
Yeah, like the layering in the whole album is just it's incredible. It's next level, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think, at least for me, in terms of, the song I think I like the most by you guys is called Overthinking or Overthinker. Love that song. Absolutely love that song. Yeah, so I'm curious, when you guys, so there's like this, I feel like there's this trend of like live recording songs for albums. Is that something y'all do, or you're just, you're recording your part and then you're layering it in kind of deal?
We live recorded Locals 2 for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely important for us to at least like track the bass and drums live. That's our studio setup. We go in like super prepared to lay down like a live track, and maybe we can keep a guitar or two, but as long as we get the drums and the bass live, like then it's pretty easy to layer on top of that. But it's important to us to get a live take of at least a couple instruments to maintain that live feel.
Yeah, love it. So kind of in the same vein of, song you're most proud of, what about, so y'all have each individual music taste. Give me a song or an artist that more people need to know.
People need
Almost anything by Strawberry Milk Cult. I dig it.
It's just George Clinton.
George Clinton.
George Clinton.
Clinton.
Clanton.
Clinton.
You know about
you.
No. George Clanton. There's this artist I like a lot called UFFIE. She's a singer-songwriter out of LA, but she makes some really cool stuff.
I've been really into Brazilian Portuguese artists. Her name's Maro, so it's Maro. I don't really think she's like that underground at this point, but I just love the way she like composes everything. She reminds me of a lot of John Mayer, who's like an artist that I grew up listening to a lot, but a lot more nuance.
Yeah, I think so. If you guys had to, if someone was like listening to Willis for the first time, right? What would you want the takeaway to be on who y'all are, what y'all's sound is? Like, 3, 4, 5 words of like, what's Willis's core?
It's fucking thing.
Yeah, five dudes.
5 dudes hanging, making chill music.
Yep. We like to act people that ourselves. Like, I like when people tell me like, "Oh, you guys sound like da 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 da." Like, like I like that type of stuff.
Okay.
I think the favorite compliment to get is that we're like different and unique, but also easy to listen to.
Yeah, I would very much agree with the very, very easy to listen to, very easy to throw on and just, get into really quickly. So kind of going forward for you guys, what is, what's the next year look like for you, and what are you guys most excited about?
The tour starts in November. We're doing a short run throughout the Southeast. And then next year will be the big countrywide tour. And we're also trying to record some new music. So perhaps a Locals 5.
Locals 5, love it. What about the question I've been wondering, I'm sure your fans have been wondering too, you going to get any Locals vinyl?
We get that a lot, and absolutely, it's coming.
Very soon.
Absolutely.
Love it. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all taking the time today. And seriously, I can't wait to see you guys out on tour, and, wish nothing but the best for you.
Appreciate that, bro. Likewise.
Thank you, man. Good to meet you. You're on the list for any show you want to come to.
Appreciate that.